we find a convenient mathematical way of handling mixed states? The problem is that, as we've already concluded, a simple linear superposition of different quantum mechanical states will not work. That always gives a pure state. Remember that for any pure state of polarization of a light beam, for example, we can always make some polarizing filter that will pass all of the photons. But for our mixed state of photons of two different polarizations from two different lasers, there's no polarizing filter that will pass all of those photons. Our mixed state is something different from a pure state, and we can distinguish them experimentally. Now, we can simply represent our mixed state as some sort of probability distribution of the system being in different quantum mechanical states. Then, by working out the results for each possibility and then averaging over all the possibilities, we can still calculate the outcomes. It would in fact be quite straightforward to do this for our two laser beams and our polarization filter. But we would like a more convenient mathematics that might handle this automatically for us. And of course, we would like this same mathematics to be flexible. Ideally, it would continue to work even as our actual state was the simplest possible mixed state, which of course is just a pure state with a 100% probability of the system being in a specific quantum mechanical state. That means we're looking for a mathematics that can handle all the quantum mechanics we've done so far, which has been for pure states, but that can also handle the mixed states. The answer is to introduce the density operator, or as it's more commonly called, the density matrix.
However we're going to represent the mixed state, it must obviously contain the probabilities, Pj, and the pure states, Psi_j. But it must not simply be a linear combination of the states. The structure we propose instead is what's called the density operator. So that's this expression here. This is an operator because it contains the outer product of state vectors. In fact, we would normally think of this, quite correctly, as a matrix. So this is really a matrix, and we associate matrices and operators. In this expression we have here, we've deliberately left the hat off of this operator to emphasize that its physical meaning and use are quite different from the other operators we've considered. At least, as we are viewing it, ρ is not an operator representing some physical observable. Rather, ρ is representing the state of the system. In general, a mixed state. If ρ is to be a useful way of representing the mixed state, it must allow us to calculate quantities like the ensemble average measured value for any physical observable with operator A. If we can evaluate this ensemble averaged measured value for any such physical observable, then ρ will be the most complete way we can have of describing this mixed quantum mechanical state, because it will tell us the value we will get of any measurable quantity, to within at least our underlying statistical uncertainties. To understand the properties of the density operator, we write it in terms of a complete orthonormal basis. So these are going to be a set of orthogonal normalized functions. First, we're going to expand each of the pure states, Psi_j, in this set. So here's the expansion of one specific one, a set of expansion coefficients. We're summing over all the possible different indices for this orthonormal basis. And note that we've put a superscript j with some parentheses around it to remind ourselves that this set of coefficients is the one that's associated with the pure state Psi_j. Then we're going to use this expansion and its adjoint in our definition of the density operator to obtain this expression, which we can regroup slightly into this form. So here we see this is simply Psi_j with one summation index here, and this is the Hermitian adjoint of psi j with another summation index here. So we see that this is a sum over u and v of these numbers, these are only numbers inside here, and the outer product of these two basis functions. Written in this way, the matrix representation of rho is now clear. We have a matrix element in this basis, which we could write like this. So taking this form here, then applying it to this state, we'll simply be left with this number as a result, which we can choose to define as the ensemble average of this product of Cu and Cv star. Here we've also introduced and defined the idea of the ensemble average, as we said in this coefficient product here. We will now usually talk of rho as the density matrix with matrix elements rho uv.